The first note of the song hit me like a memory I never gave permission to return. It wasn't just music, it was our music. Soft piano. Slow rhythm. The kind of melody that doesn't just play in the background, it pulls you in, wraps around your chest, and squeezes until you can't tell if you're breathing or remembering. I froze mid-step, my fingers tightening around the edge of the champagne glass as laughter and clinking glasses echoed around me. "Hey, you okay?" my husband, Daniel, asked beside me. His voice was warm. Steady. Safe. And yet, distant. I forced a smile, nodding quickly. "Yeah. Just, this song. I didn't expect it." He followed my gaze toward the dance floor where couples had already started swaying under golden lights. The entire ballroom shimmered, crystal chandeliers, soft candlelight, polished marble reflecting everything like a dream you didn't want to wake up from. Our anniversary party. 5 years of marriage. 5 years of choosing stability over chaos, peace over passion. 5 years of not thinking about him. Until now. "I'll grab us another drink," Daniel said gently, squeezing my hand before stepping away. And just like that, I was alone. Alone with the music. Alone with the past. I should have walked away. I knew that. Every instinct in me whispered it. But memories don't work like logic, they don't ask for permission. They just take over. And then I felt it. That presence. That familiar pull that no amount of time had ever fully erased. "You still freeze when this song plays." The voice came from behind me. Low. Calm. Unshaken. My heart stopped. Slowly, too slowly, I turned. And there he was. Ethan. 5 years later, and somehow, he looked exactly the same, and completely different all at once. His jaw was sharper, his expression quieter, like life had carved something deeper into him. But his eyes. God, his eyes hadn't changed at all. They still looked at me like I was a story he never got to finish. "I didn't know you'd be here," I said, my voice barely holding together. A lie. Maybe not consciously, but somewhere deep down, maybe I had always known that unfinished things have a way of finding you again. He gave a small, almost sad smile. "I almost didn't come." Silence stretched between us, thick and fragile. Around us, people laughed, danced, celebrated love, while we stood there like two ghosts stuck in a moment that refused to die. "It's your anniversary," he added, glancing around. "You look happy." Another lie I didn't know how to answer. "I am," I said anyway. Because it was easier. Because it was safer. Because saying anything else would open a door I had spent 5 years locking shut. He nodded, but didn't look convinced. Of course he wasn't. He knew me too well. "Do you remember this song?" he asked softly. I let out a breath that felt like it had been trapped in my chest for years. How could I forget? It was the last song we ever danced to. The night everything fell apart. The night love wasn't enough. The night we chose different futures, even though it broke us. "I used to hate it," he admitted. "After you left. I couldn't even hear it without wanting to." He stopped himself. But he didn't need to finish. I already knew. Because I felt the same way. "Why are you here, Ethan?" I asked, finally finding the courage to say what mattered. His eyes locked onto mine, steady and unflinching. "For closure," he said. "Closure. Such a simple word for something so impossibly complicated. And did you find it? I asked. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he held out his hand. Dance with me, he said. My breath caught. No, I whispered immediately. That's not a good idea. Just one dance, he replied. No past. No future. Just one last moment. One last moment. That's how it always starts, isn't it? Not with big decisions, but small, dangerous ones. I glanced across the room, searching for Daniel. He was at the bar, talking to someone, his back turned to me. Comfortable. Trusting. He trusted me. And that should have been enough. It should have been. But then the music swelled. And Ethan's hand was still there. Waiting. Familiar. Unfinished. I swallowed hard, my heart pounding louder than the song. This doesn't change anything, I said, more to myself than to him. It doesn't have to, he replied quietly. And against every rational thought. I placed my hand in his. The moment our fingers touched, it was like stepping into a memory that had been paused instead of ended. His hand was warm, steady, like it had always been. He pulled me gently toward the dance floor, and suddenly the noise of the room faded into nothing. There was only us. Just like before. His hand rested at my waist, careful, respectful, but still sending a shock through me that I couldn't ignore. My hand settled on his shoulder, my fingers remembering what my mind tried to forget. We moved slowly, naturally, like no time had passed at all. That's the problem, I murmured. What is? He asked. This feels too easy. He looked down at me, something unreadable flickering in his eyes. Maybe it was never supposed to be hard. A painful smile tugged at my lips. It destroyed us, Ethan. That doesn't sound easy. No, he said quietly. Losing you did. The words hit harder than I expected. I looked away, blinking back the sudden sting in my eyes. We made our choices. You made yours, he corrected softly. I frowned, looking back at him. What does that mean? It means I didn't stop loving you, he said. Just like that. No hesitation. No defense. Just truth. My chest tightened, my heartbeat stumbling over itself. You don't get to say that now. Why not? He asked. Because you're married? Because it's inconvenient? Yes, I snapped, my voice breaking slightly. Because it's too late. His gaze didn't waver. It was too late 5 years ago too, he said. But that didn't stop us from feeling it. I shook my head, trying to pull myself back, trying to remember who I was now, not who I used to be. This was a mistake, I whispered. But I didn't pull away. Neither did he. The song was nearing its end. One last chorus. One last moment. I just needed to know, he said softly. Know what? If it was still there. My breath caught. And before I could stop myself. Is it? He asked. Silence. The kind that says everything words are too afraid to admit. And in that silence, I realized something terrifying. It was. The song ended. But neither of us moved. For a second, the world held its breath. And then, a glass shattered somewhere across the room. The sound snapped me back to reality like a slap. I pulled away instantly, my heart racing as the weight of what I had just done crashed down on me. "I can't do this," I said quickly, stepping back. "I shouldn't have." "I know," Ethan said, though his eyes said the opposite. I turned, my gaze searching desperately. And then I saw him. Daniel. Standing across the room. Not angry. Not shouting. Not even moving. Just watching. Silent. Still. And somehow, that hurt more than anything. Because in his eyes, I didn't see rage. I saw something worse. Understanding. And heartbreak. My stomach dropped. "Daniel," I started, stepping toward him. But he didn't wait. He didn't ask questions. He didn't make a scene. He simply nodded once, a small, almost invisible gesture. And then he turned. And walked away. Just like that. No words. No fight. No second chance in that moment. Just a silent goodbye. And suddenly, one dance didn't feel small anymore. It felt like the beginning of losing. By the time I pushed through the crowd and reached the entrance, Daniel was already gone. The glass doors swung shut behind me as I stepped out into the cold night air, my chest rising and falling too fast, like I had been running, even though I hadn't moved fast enough when it mattered. "Daniel!" I called out, my voice cracking into the empty parking lot. Nothing. Just the faint hum of distant traffic and the echo of my own mistake. I spotted his car pulling out at the far end of the lot, headlights cutting through the darkness like a final line being drawn between us. "Wait!" I shouted, taking a few desperate steps forward, but deep down, I knew. He wasn't going to stop. And he didn't. The car disappeared onto the road, leaving me standing there under dim lights, dressed for a celebration that had just turned into something else entirely. Something broken. The drive home felt longer than it ever had before. I don't even remember how I got there. My hands were on the wheel, my eyes on the road, but my mind kept replaying the same moment over and over again. Ethan's hand in mine. The music. The way it felt like nothing had changed. And then, Daniel's eyes. That quiet, devastating look. No anger. No shouting. Just acceptance. Like he had already let go. Why didn't he say anything? I whispered to myself as I pulled into the driveway. The house stood still, dark except for one light in the living room. He was home. A strange mix of relief and dread twisted inside me as I stepped out of the car and walked toward the front door. Every step felt heavier than the last. Because I didn't know what I was walking into. A fight? Silence? Or something worse? The door creaked open slowly. "Daniel?" I called softly. No answer. I stepped inside, closing the door behind me, the quiet of the house pressing in on me like a weight. And then I saw him. Sitting on the couch. Still in his suit. Jacket off, sleeves rolled up, elbows resting on his knees, his hands clasped together. He didn't look up. For a moment. I just stood there. Not knowing where to begin. "I'm sorry," I finally said, the words rushing out before I could stop them. "I shouldn't have danced with him. It didn't mean anything, I just... Don't." His voice was calm. Too calm. It stopped me instantly. "I don't need an explanation," he added quietly. That hurt more than if he had yelled. Because explanations mean something can still be fixed. But this? This felt like something already decided. I swallowed hard, stepping closer. Then say something, Daniel. Please. Don't just sit there like this. Slowly, he looked up. And for the first time since I'd met him, I didn't recognize the man in front of me. Not because he had changed, but because something inside him had. You looked happy, he said. The words caught me off guard. What? When you were dancing with him, he continued. You looked alive. I shook my head quickly. That's not true. I love you. I know you care about me, he interrupted gently. Care. Not love. The distinction hit like a knife. But that wasn't the same look you have when you're with me, he said. My throat tightened. You're wrong. Am I? He asked, not accusing, just tired. And that's what made it worse. Because he wasn't trying to win an argument. He was just stating something he had finally accepted. Silence filled the room again. Thick. Unavoidable. I didn't say anything back there, he continued after a moment, because I didn't want to embarrass you. I didn't care about that, I whispered. I did, he said. I always do. That was Daniel. Always thinking about me. Even now. Even when I didn't deserve it. My eyes burned as tears threatened to fall. It was just one dance. He let out a soft breath, almost like a sad laugh. It was never just a dance. I couldn't argue with that. Because deep down, I knew he was right.